Okay, welcome to another session in this series. In the previous session, we ended on question number 43. Here we start with question number 44. Cool. The question says, find the value of the angle marked Y in the diagram above. So what we are trying to find is this angle, right? Cool. But we know that this line and this line are parallel, and this is also parallel to them. So these three lines are parallel to each other, okay? How do you know that? Because of this sign that is on all of them, okay? So they are parallel to each other. So if that's the case, then we can extend this line and also this line. Cool. Now, all right, if we extend this line, then essentially we can get a z over here, and we know that the angles at the armpit of a z are what? Alternate angles, and they are equal. So that means y is equal to 3x. So let's write that down somewhere. Y is equal to 3x. Okay, cool. Now we just need to find our x, then we find y. Okay, we need to find x, then we find y. Now how do you find x? You know that the angles at a point add up to what? 360. So we add 3x plus 120 plus 5x. We should get what? 360. So let's do that. So we have 120 plus 3x plus 5x should give us 360. Cool. So we have 8x to give us 360 minus 120. That will give us 240. We can cancel out with 8. Then you have our x to be what? 30. Okay. So now to find y, we just insert our x value, which is what? 30 from here. 30, which is what we got here. Okay. So we have our y to be equal to 90. So 90 is our answer, which is B. Cool. Let's move on to question number 45. It says, what is the value of y in the diagram? Okay. Now, how do you find y in the diagram? What we know is that this is what? A four-sided, let's call it a polygon. It's a four-sided figure. Okay. Cool. A polygon. Now, this is a point right here. We have a point right here. So we know that the angles at a point add up to what? 360. So imagine we say this angle here is equal to x. That means this angle here will be equal to what? 360 minus x, which is y. Okay. So let's write that down somewhere else. We say y is equal to 360 minus x. Okay. Let's keep that. Cool. Now let's go back into the diagram. We know that this is a four-sided diagram or polygon. So we can say that the sum of interior angles of a polygon, which we know the formula to be 180 n minus 2, will be equal to the sum of all the digits, which is 40 plus 75 plus 45 plus x plus x. Okay, and we know that our n here is what? 4, because we have 4 sides: 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so n here is 4. 4 minus 2 give us what? 2. So let's put it inside. We have 80, 180. 4 minus 2 should give us what? This will give us 45 plus 75. That is 120, 160. 160 plus x. Okay, so we have our x to be equal to 360 minus 160, which is what? 200. Now we can find our y by inputting x. Okay, y is equal to 360 minus x, which is what? 200. We got it from here. Okay, so we have our y to be what? Our y to equal to 160. Okay, which is A. Okay, cool. Let's move on to question number 46. It says, in a triangle PQR, one of the angles is 61, QPR is 61, another angle BRQ is 27, And then the angle at Q is what? Not known. So we are supposed to find that. So let's draw a simple triangle. Okay. So this triangle here, let's label it PQR. The angle at P has been given to what? 61. That's QPR. The angle at R has been given as what? 27. So the angle at Q here is what we are trying to find. Let's call it what? X. We know that when we add this angle, and this angle, and this angle, we should get what? 180, because that is a triangle. The sum of interior angles of a triangle add up to 180. So they can find X. So X plus 61 plus 27 should give us what? 180. So X is equal to 180 minus 98. No, 88, sorry. 88. 88. So finally, we find our X to be what? 92. Okay? Which is D. Cool. Let's move on to question number 47. It says, an isosceles triangle is of base 10 centimeter. If the equal sides are 13 centimeter each, find the height. So let's draw an isosceles triangle. Let's draw an isosceles triangle. Okay. So let's assume this is an isosceles triangle. Okay. We've been given that what? The base is 10 centimeter. Okay. 10. Okay. And the equal sides, let's assume these are the equal sides. Okay. Are 13 centimeter each. 13 centimeter each. Find the height of the triangle. So what we are trying to find is what? The height. Okay. Cool. Now, in an isosceles triangle, the height divides the base into two, because these two sides are the same. The line that goes through the middle, what, divides it into two. That means here will be 5 and here will be 5. Okay. So let's just take one side for now. It's what? 5. Okay. So now, in order to find this height, which is h, we can use what? Pythagoras theorem. So let's take out that triangle. Right angle triangle. This is h, this is 13, and this is 5. So we know that h squared plus 5 squared should give us 13 squared from what? Pythagoras theorem. When you have a right angle triangle. Okay, cool. So we have our h squared to be equal to 169 minus 25, which will give us 144. Okay, so h will be a square root of 144, which gives us what? 12. So that is our answer, which is C. All right, I think we'll have to stop here for now. In the next session, we move on to question number 48. Thank you so much for watching this session. See you again next time. Bye.